was I talking about? Oh yeah, like time going by fast. Yeah, so like people are like, because when you're a kid, time doesn't go by fast, and I think partly it's because you just don't care because you got all this time to burn. Um, because I've tried like people's suggestions, which I knew. It's like it's one of my theories was why is time going by so fast? And I thought, well, it's probably because you just don't do enough. Like when you're a kid, you're always discovering new things. And, you're kind of moving faster than time, right? So this summer, I said, okay, so let's try to pack as much as we can into every day. And it was, for my son, who I pretty much bring with me everywhere, my oldest son, because he's at the age now where he understands things and he listens pretty good. So I try to just get as much experience, him exposed to as much stuff as possible. So this summer, it's kind of what I did. We did so many new things. Went on go-karts, went in the water, went to the library for the first time. Just all these new things, and it went by faster. So I think the main reason that time goes by so fast when you get older is because you don't have that buffer. You don't have time to waste anymore. Boy, have I wasted a lot of time in my life. I think the biggest waste of time, although it was fun at the time, me and my wife, we were always gaming nerds. I mean, that's how we met, kind of through D&D kind of stuff. And, but like when we met, we both had our collection of Genesis games, Nintendo games, and we merged our collections, So, like we knew the value of those things, like way before, it became popular, like way before like the retro gaming thing, because they were special to us, That was like, I wouldn't sell any of that stuff. I would never sell that stuff. I kept all my systems I got from when I was a kid. I even have a ColecoVision that I bought at a tag sale when I was a kid. I've got an Atari 2600. I've got Nintendo Entertainment System. I got the Super Nintendo, Genesis, 32X, Sega CD. I got pretty much every system except for Neo Geo, which I always wanted but couldn't afford. And I have a TurboGrafx now, thanks to Analog. I do hope they come out with Neo Geo. That would just be. I mean, there's like only 2 games I play on Neo Geo, but 3. Seiken Densetsu. What's the big Contra-like game there? Metal Slug. Those are really like the only 2 Neo Geo games I play. I think there's one more. I mean, there's some really good ones. Those are the ones I always have to play. I think I may have got the name wrong. I think Seiken Densetsu. Isn't that Secret of Mana? No, the one I'm talking about is like you're like a ninja. It's like a platform hack and slash. It's 2D hack and slash type deal. Sengoku, that's the one. But there's just something so. Even TurboGrafx, there's something so exotic about those 2 systems because I never had them, and I always want like. Of course, you want every system when you're a kid, but I would go to Toys R Us and they had that really awesome setup of all the systems that you could just play, and I'd play them, and they were just so exotic because they were games like like Bonk's Adventure. It's so different than anything else. I love that game. So yeah, Analog has made it possible for me to now enjoy those games. And I do have the TurboGrafx, the one that they actually release. It's basically just a glorified emulator in a box, right? I do have that. And that is actually really good. Those things are so expensive now because they're pretty rare. But I miss the Neo Geo emulator box, and I'm not going to pay what they want for it. So I hope Analog does release a Neo Geo. I'm looking forward to the N64. I'm a huge N64 fan. That was when the N64 came out. It was absolute magic. I will never forget going to Toys R Us and playing Mario 64 for the first time. I have yet to experience anything on that level, because there's just not those leaps and bounds anymore. Like the technology to experience something that new with those kinds of animations and that fluid 360-degree movement. Oh my gosh, it was absolute magic. N64 just was so amazing. I remember my mom loaned me the money to buy it, and I got a job at McDonald's just to pay her back. And I worked at McDonald's for I don't know, a month, and then quit once I paid my mom back. Oh man, N64. I mean, Zelda 64. The funny thing about Zelda 64 is, for the longest time, I was pretty sure that was the greatest game ever made, because it was so epic when it first came out. There was nothing like it, nothing. And I was a computer guy, and I was big into Ultima. Ultima 7, Ultima 8. I actually was a huge Ultima 8 fan, even though people don't really care for that too much. And even on PC, there was nothing even remotely like Zelda 64 or Mario 64. Then Nintendo just forged this path of these amazing, high tech. That's one thing Nintendo had at the time, is they still. Okay, I had to change my battery there. Gotta remember that even in standby, this camera just sucks up your battery life. Gotta remember to just turn it off next time I stop somewhere. So where was I? Okay, I was talking about the Steam Deck. Steam Deck does not have that that ability to take out of the cradle and just keep playing. No, man. It's forget it. If you're playing with the Steam Deck docked, with the controller paired up to it, which works very well. I actually use an Amazon Luna controller, and I also have two of the original Steam controllers that some games, I play American Truck Simulator. That works really well with the Steam controller. But if you undock that while the game is running, and because you want to go lay in bed, keep playing, forget it. 9 out of 10 times it's not going to work, and you gotta shut it down, shut the game down, undock it, start the game back up. In some cases, even just recently, I had to restart the entire Steam Deck because, it's just it's utilizing an operating system that's just really not. Still, even all the trimming and massaging they've done is just not cut out for gaming. It really needs, and you could do this with Linux, because you can compile it any way you want. I mean, people use Linux to make watches, vending machines, I mean, or maybe they're keeping it more open, because you can use the Steam Deck like a computer. It has a desktop and everything. So I don't know. Maybe they should have like 2 builds, one that's like super stable, like just for games. If you don't want to use the Steam Deck's desktop, I don't know. But anyway, it's there's just too much overhead, too much code that's running that doesn't need to be. So you have all kinds of compatibility issues, just like PC gaming. It's just funny to me, again, like, I used to be super, I was never, I've been building computers, as we used to say, since, I think, the early 90s. Like, I was a kid, and I was going to computer shows to buy parts and stuff, and, but I was never, how they have like that PC master race Reddit. I was never of that mentality. Like, everything now is tribalism, But back then, I mean, at least I wasn't like that. And I'm one of the, people that experienced the early days and kind of the dawning of the PC gaming era, with the games that really made it popular, like Doom and Quake and Wolfenstein 3D and the Ultimate games and Might and Magic. But I always still loved my Nintendo and my Genesis. They all had their place, and getting anything, especially back then, getting anything to run flawlessly on PC was a nightmare. You'd get the fatal exceptions, DOS, you'd get all these like buffer overflows. You had to allocate enough memory, and you had to use boot disks. And it hasn't changed much, to be honest. I mean, you still run it. It's not as bad. It's certainly a lot better. I guess it has changed a little bit, but it's nothing like a console, like just turning it on, playing a game, and not having to worry about compatibility issues. That being said, there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of things that PC doesn't. In a lot of areas where it doesn't suffer from compatibility issues, like, for instance, HOTAS or steering wheels, pedals. That's where the consoles completely suck. And that's where the consoles suffer from compatibility issues. I don't understand why. So, like, my son loves Farm Sim 22. It's like he's obsessed with that game. He's been playing that since he was 4, and he's, like, mastered it. He doesn't like the farming. He just likes the trucks and downloading new trucks and trying them out. He's got like a collection of trucks. He does farm occasionally, but he's like me. He doesn't really care much for the farming. That's one of those games that it's just so much better if he could play. He plays on PS5, which is great. But if he wants like the steering wheel and the gas pedals and everything, he's got to play it on PC, because the PS5 compatibility with that stuff is just atrocious for some reason. PS5 is just fucking garbage. I didn't even really see a reason to buy a PS5. I even forgot why I bought a PS5, but it's so disappointing. If I were to say, like, what's my favorite system, even still, I would say the Switch, even as weak as it is, processor-wise. But those Nintendo exclusives make it worth it. I'm looking at this new Zelda game. I don't know if it's any good, but my interest is certainly peaked. PS5 has no fucking games. I mean, the best game on PS5, which is not even a PS5 exclusive, you could have played it on PS4, and now it's on Steam, so it's like it doesn't even matter. But Ghost of Tsushima, oh my god, what an absolute masterpiece! That is one of the greatest games I've ever played. Um, I just felt that game, the heart and soul. I felt like that samurai. What a masterpiece! I've always been into, the Shinto samurai history and whatnot. I don't know if anyone has ever captured the magic, the majesty, like this game did.